Hello beautiful people, it's good to be back. In today's tutorial we're going to be doing a simple retouch featuring Alexander Arnold. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also not forgetting that the premium PNG pack is now live on seller and is going for just $5. With this PNG pack you get PNG image from Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City. You can check the link in my bio or the link in the description to get this amazing PNG pack. Alright guys, let's not get carried away. Let's get back to our design. So here we have a picture of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and you can check the description to get a link so you can get yours while you practice. In this video, the first thing we are going to be doing is removing the background, which is making a PNG cutout. We are doing so using our magic wand tool. After making your cutout, the next thing you are doing is creating a duplicate by clicking Ctrl plus J. For better still, you do Alt and drag. So as you can see, this is our PNG cutout. Alright, so now that we have made our cutout, the next thing we are doing is adding a soft camera raw filter. So now I'm just going to head over down to filters and then camera raw filter. So here I'll be adding a soft contrast as well as shadows. I'll be increasing them a bit and then click OK. So now this is what we have. Then again we are creating another duplicate using Ctrl J, and I'll be heading back to camera raw filter again. So now in this segment I'll be doing more than just contrast. Here I'll be focusing on texture and also the dehaze. I'll be reducing the texture by 15%, that's minus 15, and increasing the dehaze, that's plus 49. After doing that, you head down to details, and in the details we have three options. So basically all I'm doing here is adjusting the sliders a little bit. You can just do yours depending on how you want your retouch to feel, but for me I don't do too much here. I just do it soft so the effect is not too much. After all of that, you click OK. So now this is what we have. You can see it was different from what it looked like before. So the next thing you are doing is creating a mask, and you invert it by using Ctrl I. Then look for your brush, set the flow to 75%. Make sure your color is on white before you start brushing. And while we are doing this trick, we are only focusing on the skin. We're not touching the eyes, we're not touching the lips, neither are we touching the eyebrows. We're only focusing on the skin. Yeah, so don't forget to set your color to white. Make sure you are clicking on the mask, and now we start brushing. Remember, we're focusing on just the skin. We're not touching the eyes, neither are we touching the lips. We are only focusing on the skin. Yeah, so for this process I'm only focusing on the darker part of the skin if you pay close attention. So I'm just going to run this up till we feel satisfied with what we are trying to achieve. Don't forget that you can get the link to this image in the description so you can follow while you practice. After getting all of the dark parts in the skin, the next thing you are doing is creating a clipping mask so all of our painting doesn't exceed the player or the image that we're working on currently. So now next up, I'll be adding vibrance, and I'll make sure the vibrance and saturation is set to minus 100 for both of them. So you see, when you try this out, it gives you like a black and white effect, but like we did the first time, we're going to invert the mask. But first off, you create a clipping mask by right clicking and creating a clipping mask, obviously. And after doing that, you invert the mask using Ctrl I. Then head down to your brush. For this part we are focusing on the eyes alone. We won't be touching the skin. Reduce the size of the brush so it doesn't exceed the eyes. I'll still reduce it a bit. Alright, so this is okay. So now I'm just going to paint the eyes only. So what this effect does is make the white part of the eyes more sharp, making it more white basically. So I'm just going to zoom out so we can see what we've done. You can see this is looking a lot more different from what we had previously. So we are not done, this is only the beginning. Alright, so this takes us to the next step, which is adding dodge and burn, and you can do this by creating a light curve and a dark curve. This process is very important when you're trying to achieve a very premium facial retouch. So we start by creating our light curve, as you can see right now. After doing that, you invert the mask. We do the same for the dark curve, which represents our burn. After doing that as well, you use Ctrl I to invert the mask. Select both of them while holding shift and create a clipping mask. There you have it. So for this, we'll be starting with the light curve, which is our dodge. Increase the size, make sure your flow is set to 75%. So what this effect does, we are only going to focus on the lighter part of the skin, and we're just going to paint. So right now, as you can see, I'm only focusing on the lighter part of the skin. I'm just painting through. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've come this far, and also turn notification to stay updated for more videos. So I'm just going to rush this process and paint through the lighter parts of the skin. Remember, while we are carrying out this process, we only focus on the skin. If you've noticed so far, I have not touched the eyes, the eyebrows, or the beards, or the hair on the head. Like, we are literally just focusing on the skin, painting through the lighter parts of the skin. While you're at this, don't forget to reduce the flow of your brush. As you can see, mine is set to 75%. You don't want it too ambiguous or too much on the face. So after that, we are heading down to the bun, and this is just a reverse, or rather the opposite of what we've done previously. Right now we're focusing on the darker part of the skin, so I'm just going to repeat the same process, only that this time the paintings are a lot more darker than it was when we were doing the dodge. All I'm doing right now is painting the darker part of the skin, trying to make our image look more sharp than it was originally. Alright, so after finishing up on the dodge and burn, I can't help but notice that the effects are kind of too much. So the best option is reducing the opacity of both the dodge and the burn. You can do this depending on how you want it to be. So for me, I'm just going to reduce the opacity to the level I feel which is right for what we're trying to achieve. Alright, so I think I found it now. This is pretty much blended properly and looking a lot more stable than it was. So now I'm going to be showing you a new trick. Shout out to Buddy's Designs. I learned this on one of his videos. So for this, I'm going to be creating a light curve. Make sure it's light, invert the mask, and then clip it on all the layers that we've had previously. Head down to your brush, maintain the same flow, which is 75%, and then reduce the size of your brush a little bit. So for this effect, we are trying to separate the hairline from the actual dodge and burn that we've created earlier. And what this does, it makes your image a lot more sharp. I know, gives it more detail. So I'm going to do this around the hairline. Make sure it's not too much. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see. So you see, like, the hairline now is popping and it's looking a lot more sharp. So after that, we are going to add a curve again, and this time make sure it's very bright, because right now we are back to the white part of the eyes. Invert the mask using Ctrl I and then create a clipping mask. Head down to your brush, make sure your flow is 75%, Reduce the size of your brush. You don't want it exceeding the white part of the eyes, and then just paint through the white part of the eyes. After doing the same for the left eyes, you also do the same for the right eyes, just to maintain consistency. Now I'm just going to paint through, and now when I zoom out, you can see how different the eye now looks compared to when we first started. Now it's looking a lot more white and sharp. So now that we're done with the eyes, our next stop is the lips. Yeah, so now we're going to be making a couple of adjustments to the lips of our image, and you can do that by creating a hue saturation layer, create a clipping mask, adjust the saturation a bit. Now head down to the hue. Basically what I'm trying to do here is find the right color for the lips. Let's see. Yeah, I think this will work. This will work just fine. After finding the right color, the next thing you do is create an inverted mask, and you can do that using Ctrl I. So now we head down to our brush, make sure your flow is still 75%, and now we just paint the lips. While you are doing this, always keep in mind that you have to reduce the opacity, just to make sure your image is not looking like they're wearing a lipstick. Right after I'm done with this painting, I'll show you how to do that. So just like I was saying earlier, now it feels like he's wearing a lipstick. So the best thing to do now is to change the blend mode to color and then reduce the opacity. As you can see, the more I reduce it, the more realistic it starts to become. This looks a lot more better than it was earlier. I was kind of weird because it felt like I was wearing a lipstick. So now this brings us to the next step, which is adding a selective color. This step is very vital in trying to achieve a premium facial or skin retouch. All you have to do is play with the sliders a bit, make sure what you are doing is not too intense, you get me. After doing that, you create a clipping mask, but this time we are not inverting, we're just going to leave it like that. And if you feel like it's too much, don't forget that you can always reduce the opacity. So I'm going to reduce the opacity once again of the hue and saturation we created for the lips. So now there you have it. So now for a selective color, so once again we'll be adding a vibrance layer, but this time we're not inverting the mask, we're only creating a clipping mask. And here, as you can see, I increased the saturation. So the next thing I'm doing is reducing the opacity a bit, and then I also reduce the vibrance, just to make sure the effect is not too much. So now this is what we have, and this is what we've done so far. So the next thing I'm doing is selecting all of the layers we've created, and you can select multiple layers by holding shift and clicking on the layers you want to select. So basically I'm doing this just to create a group. I'm trying to group all of my layers. So after grouping them like this, so now not forgetting the eyes. As you can see, he has brown eyes, so we are trying to make that pop, and we can do that by using the hue and saturation. Create a clipping mask, then select your preferred color. So I'm trying to stick with the fact that his eyes are brown. After finding the right color, invert the mask using Ctrl I, then zoom in. Make sure your brush size is reduced. You don't want to paint the parts that are not needed. Then right now I'm just going to paint through the retina and then zoom out. And if you feel like the effect is too much, you can always reduce the opacity and change the blend mode. So for this blend mode, I'm going to stick with color. Now if I zoom in, you can see that the eyes is popping and everything is looking soft. So now that we are done with the eyes, the next thing is creating a duplicate of our group. I can do that by using Ctrl J. So now on the group copy we created, all we are going to do now is make a selection of each layer that's residing in the group. I can make a selection by holding shift and clicking on all of the layers that you intend to select. So after making all of these selections, I'm going to convert them to a smart object. So now for our final trick, I'm going to head down to the camera raw filter, and now that we are here, I'm just going to adjust the contrast, the shadows, increase the whites, reduce the blacks a bit, increase the clarity, and then head down to details. But before that, I'd like to increase the exposure a bit. Now over here we have details, we have sharpen, noise reduction, and color noise reduction. I'm going to increase them slightly and click OK. So now this is what it gave us. As you can see, this is what it gave us. Let me zoom in so you can have a look. This is what we have. So now for one final trick, it's not complete if you do not add a smart sharpen. So head down to sharpen and then smart sharpen. All of these are set defaultly, but you can do yours depending on what level you want. This is going to take a minute, but yeah, this was before and now this is what we have. Alright guys, so we have come to the end of this tutorial video. You can try this trick out for your thumbnail designs to make them look sharp and premium. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also don't forget that you can get the PNG pack on seller for just $5. Do also check the link in my bio or the link in my descriptions. I love you guys. Until next time, peace.